This lecture is on the California Irrigation Management Information System, or CIMIS website. And there's some things you have to do. Follow the lecture I'm giving and the instructions on this page very carefully. The website is right here, or you just type in CIMIS, C-I-M-I-S, into Google, and the very first thing you're going to get is the CIMIS website. So once you're there, go to the Data tab, then click on Register in the upper left, or excuse me, upper right-hand corner, and follow the steps to create an account. It's free. Just give them your best guess as to what you do. If you work in ag, give them that. If you are just a student, just whatever's closest. They use that for information, and I don't know if they still have or are using student as a category, but this is the website. So I can go to various tabs, and it's changed over time. Here's a register link right there in the upper right-hand corner. I've already registered, but if I pull up registration, it should be fairly straightforward. And you just first name, last name, your email. And no, I'm not going to do that. It won't even let me stop. Okay. Then there's an image here for one of those I'm not a robot things, but I didn't let it do its thing. And then you type in whatever this picture should be. It doesn't show right now. And then you register. It's free. And then once you're in, I think it asks you some questions about, are you a production person or whatever your role is in industry. But I'm just going to click on register, or not register, excuse me. I'm going to click on log in, sorry. And I'm not sure what Julian did, J.A. Triano, that's my son. But there is logged in. Yes, I can save that there. And now I'm logged in. Welcome, Stephen. So I'm in here. All right. Then I want to check out the site to familiarize yourself with it. I'll walk you through some more. And I'll walk you through some basic concepts that I want you to understand here. CIMIS, like many other tools that generate user data, has the ability to output collected data in many different formats. The web view is easy for casual use, but there are special formats designed to be imported into Excel or many other computer programs. And the most common file format standard for data is the comma-separated values file, CSV file. You should know what a CSV file is. There are also what are called XML files. And those are used for web-based apps and web design, and those are very, very handy as well. And I can look at a sample data that Excel can provide. And here's what it looks like in Excel. It literally is just a bunch of commas if I go to the actual data, but here's the station ID, station 89, Salinas South, Monterey Bay region on March 9th, 2011. I downloaded this a long time ago. And the hour, 100 hours is 1 in the morning. 200 hours, 2 in the morning, etc. 1,000 hours, 10 in the morning. 1,300 hours is 1 in the afternoon. It's a 24-hour military time. And here are all the different things from air temperature, relative humidity, very high early in the morning in the 90s, much, much lower in the middle of the day, down into the 50s and 60s in the middle of the day, going back up when it starts getting dark again. And you can see the solar radiation. It's dark, dark, dark. And then here we get sunrise. Sunrise starting here at about 7 o'clock, starting to get a little bit of solar radiation. Bright during the day, going down, and sunset occurring right in here. So you can see the actual data. And all of this is being collected at hundreds of stations around the state. And if I open this up in open with, where to go? There it is. Open with Notepad. I'm going to open this with just a standard text file editor. And you can see how there's just all these commas everywhere. In Excel, I can't, or excuse me, in Notepad, I can't see what the heck is going on. It's just a whole bunch of numbers and commas. Excel knows how to interpret a CSV file because it is a very small, efficient file that can be sent over even a very poor quality internet connection with the minimum amount of data transfer. And then once Excel has it, you can do math on it. Figure out, all right, what is my evapotranspiration, etc. So that's the information that's here. Let's go back to the actual website and poke around a little bit. And I want you to do a lot more poking around than I'm going to do here. There's an overview about CIMIS. Go ahead and read some of the information here. You can look at the evapotranspiration maps. There's something called spatial CIMIS, which is a step up using satellite data that you can use the satellite information rather than just ground-based weather stations. I'm not going to get into that here. I'm going to click on some of these things, take a quick read, getting started. What does the site have and how do you use it? The staff, system news, so they have information about the site. So you could look, what happened at station 255 in Chino. Well, it was replaced. So, you can keep up on what's going on, and a frequently asked question or fact file or facts page. The stations. Where are the stations? And here's a list by number. And a lot of the early lower numbers have been replaced over the years. And so you see inactive, inactive, inactive. But that's not the case when you go to the high numbers. So here's station 264, the last numbered station in Plumas County, Sierra Valley Center. And the other page, again, the high numbers, there's only one inactive here because they're newer stations in the system. So why are they inactive? Is it because they're temporarily inactive, or they've been, replaced by condominiums and the ag use there isn't as important or whatever? But that's a station list by number. And that can be very hard to use unless you know what your stations are. And so what really helps is this map of California, and the numbers are scattered all over the place. So I've got 259 and 43. They're not laid out in any order based on where they are. It's based on when they were established. So if we go to Monterey County, here we have the Monterey Bay, the Salinas Valley, and I've got a really slow internet connection, but 116 is North Salinas, 214 South Salinas. We've got a couple over here in the coastal region, a couple on the northern part of the bay, down in Soledad, 252, etc. So you can find the stations based on where you are, depending on what's going on in King City. Sometimes if I had some trials in the King City area here, and I did some weather checking, and I would use a weighted average of 114 and 113. And I don't remember what it was, but my field here, I figured, all right, my field that I'm doing experiments on is 70% 114 and 30% 113. And I would just take the numbers and let Excel add them up on a weighted average and give me an interpreted or in between data. Those are the maps. There's information on siting. How do you create a site? It has to have grass, not just dry, bare ground or dead things. You have to have irrigated grass in order to be a standard, properly maintained CIMIS site so that it gets evapotranspiration and the cooling effect of evapotranspiration and a realistic measure of soil temperature in a production area. So the station doesn't work if it's on a parking lot. We have a CIMIS station setup, or I shouldn't say that. We have a setup that is very similar to a CIMIS station on the roof of the LaSalle campus. And it's used for show and tell with some high school students and K-12, or all of K-12 students in our NASA CIMA lab, but it's useless for ag data because it's on the roof. Wind is all messed up on the roof. We can't get soil temperature. The air temperature is going to be screwed up because of the roof. Does that matter for a demonstration? No, it's close enough and it's fine. Students can get a kick out of an actual weather station that's there at the LaSalle campus for the K-12 students visiting the NASA CIMA lab. For a real ag one, though, it needs to be cited properly. And then there's a lot of detailed information on the sensors and what are the exact sensor types that they use for their anemometers and for their thermometers and solar radiation measuring devices. So the pyranometer, which I didn't give you in the weather setup, but you should know that. What is a device that measures solar radiation? It's called a pyranometer. You can think of pyro, like a pyromaniac, somebody who likes fire. The sun is a fireball, and it's measuring the light from the fireball of the sun. Anyway, these are the meters that they use and the maintenance. Really cool to see what they really do in the maintenance. Spatial CIMIS, again, I really encourage you to go there. I'm not going to go there right at the moment, but just look what they've got there. What is this spatial CIMIS that is pretty high tech? And then the meat. What did I say? Go to data. Explore around and then go to data. You have to be logged in to be able to get the information that you need for this class. You need an account. So I'm going to choose a report type. I can do hourly, daily. There's something called daily ETO variance. You can look that up. Don't worry about it. Monthly or monthly with average. And usually I would do an hourly report. I would get all 24 hours for any given day, week, month that I chose. And then what type of report? Do I want a web report? The problem with a web report, it's easy to look at, but it's really hard to share or to store. And you can't open it in Excel. You can't do math on it. But I'm going to start with web report just to show you. And then do you want English or metric? And then what's the date range? So let's do something like, oh, I'm going to do February 10th, 2020 through February 17th, 2020. So I'm going to look at last year. Just, I don't know why, just curious. And I'm going to pick a station. If I don't have the stations memorized, I can go back to the maps and write down the ones I'm interested in. But I'm going to look at 113. That was down there in King City, if you recall. So you pick the King City map or station, and I can show inactive stations on the list. If I want to get some historical data, you can show that. I can look by zip code. I can select only specific sensors or specific hours if I want to, but I just like the whole thing, and I'm going to run the report. What happens? There's my hourly report. 24 hours. Zoom in a little bit. So I've got from 0, 100, which is 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, etc. So what was it like on the 10th, on the 11th, on the 12th? I've got a day of data for each one. And I could add up my evapotranspiration. How much water did I lose in inches? If I were to import this into Excel, I could just say, how much water did I lose from evapotranspiration during last week? Import the data, stick it in Excel, sum up the entire column, and that'll tell me how much water I lost. Pretty simple. There's lots of other things that you can do with this data. Now it's February. These ETO numbers are really low. You're not losing a lot of evapotranspiration in February. Let's try. Oh, crap. I closed it. I closed it. Oh, come on. Is it not letting me go past? All right, I don't have time to mess with this. I'll call that good enough for now. I was going to just do a comparison with an August day in King City compared to a February day, and you'll see that the ETO numbers go up quite a bit more. You might get a 1/4 inch a day instead of a couple hundredths of an inch. So what you're going to need to do for the CIMIS assignment is get yourself an account, go into CIMIS, look up a particular day on a particular station, and look up some information. What was the evapotranspiration at station 73 at 1 in the afternoon? Look it up. That will be your homework assignment coming up. All right. So that's CIMIS. There's a lot of things you can do. There's another site in Arizona called AZMET, the Arizona Meteorological Network, AZMET, Arizona Meteorological Network, AZMET. I think it's azmet.edu. Doesn't matter. Just type in AZMET and it pops up. It's a university site, kind of gaudy colors, at least the last time I looked. But if you're a Yuma person, you might find that very useful. And they've got a lot of stuff there for other types of users, recreational users and landscape people and all kinds of interesting stuff through the University of Phoenix, Arizona. And go to Oklahoma, they got their own setup. I don't remember what it's called, but Oklahoma's got their own state system for helping with weather information. On and on and on. But here in California, you need to know CIMIS.